Wherever you are. Hey guys, this is Paul Mikel. I don't think we did this last week, maybe the week before we did a video or something, but hard to believe this is the end of 2024 and the start of the new year comes in 2 days. So I'm going to give everyone just a minute or so to get on here. I know James is going to be joining us with a kind of a demo on the pricing model that we're about to institute coming in January. But before he does, make sure everything is set here correctly. One thing I would love for everyone to do while we're kind of just sitting around is I know it's the end of the year, and I know this is when everyone starts making goals for the next year that they won't keep past February. If you ever Now, we're different, but most people, there's friends of mine that go to the gym a lot, and they tell me they don't even go to the gym in the month of January because that is when everyone makes these big New Year's resolutions. They're going to get in shape. They're going to do all these different things. And so my friends that actually go to the gym a lot don't go then. And so they wait until, they have the ability to get everyone out of the gyms after February, whenever they go back to being normal. So, what I want everyone to do, though, is kind of highlight in the chat, and I'm going to take maybe screenshots or recording of this, and I would love for you to put one thing that you're proud of from 2024 that you've accomplished. And listen, it doesn't have to be with Revo. It can just be anything. I just want to let people understand, and a lot of times we get caught up in the day-to-day, the hustle and bustle. It's like, it's hard to sometimes reflect on the good things that we do because we're so forward facing. So I would love for you to put something that you've done that you're really excited about, proud of in 2024. It can be business, can be personal, anything like that. And then one thing that going forward in 2025 doesn't have to be a goal, because I don't really believe in goals. I believe you just build every single day. You have a long-term goal of where you want to get, and along the way things get changed. So if you want to work out more, if you want to do more rides or whatever, but and just so everyone knows, I'll show this in a little bit, but we have hit our 500 rides this month for December. And I know some people are like, oh, well, that's nothing. 500, Uber does 25 million. I can promise you it's a big milestone, because we've got cities now who are finally getting it and understanding it. So when we start bringing more people in January, there's a base. You've got Jeff Trills, you've got Mario, you've got, our superstars in Kansas City, that are just killing it up there, Mark and Erica. And we've got, Adonis out in Vegas. We've got, here in West Palm Beach, I'm so fired up and excited because every single day they're growing, with Arthur and I don't want to, I mess her name up every time, but Makwa, I think is how you say it. She's one of my favorite people, and I can't even get her name right. But things are just growing, and I am more excited than I've been in a while, because when you're dealing with software, it's the most frustrating thing on earth, because one day it's great, you put a new feature in, it goes up, it goes down, and everyone expects us to be perfect from the day one. Listen, if anybody could do what we're doing, somebody would have already done it. So it's not easy. It's not always fun. But to me, my mentor taught me a long time ago, success is not a journey, or success is not a destination. It's a journey. If everything was just simple and done, I would be bored right now. And so I'm not bored. I'm excited about finding ways to, make sure that this next year we can help you guys scale things even better, come up with more training materials. Lisa's actually going to put a training schedule that we're going to start on Monday. We're going to be doing more overviews live. We're going to be doing more trainings. I'm going to get more involved on the driver side of trainings. I want us to have a centralized location where all the information comes from. Because a lot of times what happens is when you get people in, you have somebody that teaches them one thing who teaches something else. Like if we were all sitting around a table here in my studio, living room, whatever you want to call this, and I said something to the person next to me and whispered it to him, and I told him we're going to the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, which we all know is not going to happen for a while, hopefully next year. That's my goal, is next year for the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl, but I can't affect that goal, so I won't have that goal. But I'm going to go around the table, and every person that said it different to the next person, by the time it got back to me, it'd be totally messed up, be totally different. And that's what we want to stop happening going in January. We want to start having the people that are doing the best start actually showing people. There's so many people that are great at teaching theory, when the reality is the people that are doing it are the ones that should be teaching it to a certain extent. Now, are there some people that are better coaches than they are actually out doing it? Absolutely. But I'm going to be working with these top leadership people like Mario and Jeff Trills. I want them to start doing more of these trainings and getting out there in the field. And I'm working on something pretty big for the end of February. We're trying to do a live training down here in West Palm Beach, February 1st and 2nd. I'll try to get you details on that. But after that, my goal is to kick off something called a REVO Roadshow. My son and I are working on it. I want to go around the country. I'm going to take one of my vehicles, turn it into something where I will be living out of that for 2 to 3 months and have my son travel around, let me get out in the field with people and go and meet them and show people that I'm not any better than anyone. I'm not too good to get out and drive. I was talking to my son yesterday and I said, hey, I want you to film this. I want to turn it almost into a show so we can bring attention to what's going on with our drivers. I want to be doing live interviews, teaching those people, meeting people around the country, getting out and seeing you. So if you want me to be able to come to your area, you can get with Lisa. We're going to put together a whole schedule. But it was funny when I was talking to my son yesterday. I said, listen, I want you to film this. We'll turn one of the vehicles into something we can live out of, and I'll travel city to city. And he goes, oh, that'd be even awesome. You don't even have to drive there, Dad. You can just fly in. I'll drive the car there, and then you can be there. And I said, no, that's not what this is about. This is about me doing the work. This is about me being out there driving, going and meeting people and sacrificing for a couple of months so that I can show people that, listen, I'm a real person. I want to give the best that we possibly can in 2025. We've been laying this groundwork. Every time we take one step forward, sometimes feel like take 2 steps back, but that's how business is. And I'm very, very excited about where we're going. So what I want to do real quickly right now is I want to have James come on and kind of go through a little bit of a demo on what we have coming. I can't guarantee it's going to be in the next couple of days. The best thing that's going on right now is look at that background James has. It's the best background you've ever had.
I know it's all AI generated.
Hey, look at that. That's good. That's better than just smudge in the background or whatever. Is that really AI?
No.
I didn't think so. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to not send you the link. But all right, so you want to go ahead and take over?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Paul. So we're all holiday last 2 weeks or a month to really drive forward this driver pricing. So we're going to get this capability in every driver's hands to be able to set rates and be able to determine how they want to operate their business. Let me share my screen here. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, great. So two things. So on the driver side, you'll see in the middle here the ability to set up your rates. And so trying to keep it really simple where you can do analysis around what your rates are going to be with very simple parameters. The parameters around the base fare, minimum fare, and we're going to set some guidelines around that. And what I mean by that is we're going to set thresholds around each location on what the high and the lows are within that area. And then you determine what your specific rate is at that specific time. So base fare, you can move this around and be able to, actually, this is on my phone, so sorry about that. Let me, so you can see that as I move the calculation around, you can see my estimated earnings change based on all these parameters. So if I want to lower the distance, I can go in here and say, I know typically on a 10-mile ride that takes maybe 15 minutes, I'm going to make $11.32, but I can move my parameters around and say, well, my per minute charge is not going to be 38 cents. I want to make that up to maybe 59 cents, or my per mile to be a little bit higher. You can see everything adjusts automatically to get you to see what your potential earnings are for those parameters. Now, if you want to set surge, we have that ability. You can go in here and say, I want to set up surge. and I want to make my percentage a little higher. I want to surge it up to maybe 20% because it's a high volume area. The time of day it's going to be high. Now I can see what my earnings are, and then when you're ready to go, all you have to do is update your rate. Now what that
James, we
does is
may need to
ties it
have, we may,
to
just real quickly, we may need to have a percentage and a multiplier, because I think we can talk to some of the drivers and make sure, but I think that they do like take whatever the rate is and they multiply it by 2, by 3, by 4.
Yeah, we can go through all that. The ability to
Yeah,
do surge is in place, so we can set those parameters. Right now, we're
cool.
doing it as a percentage. You can also do a test rate. So what I mean by that is you tap on the test rate at the top. Typically, a lot of drivers know exactly what they should be getting for maybe based on a certain location. So if you're wanting to go from an airport to, let's say, Twisted Tuna here in Palm Beach, you can set those parameters. But maybe you want to change that to something else. You can go in and just eliminate this. I'm going to have a clear button here. But let's say you want to go somewhere else. I'm just going to put an arbitrary address here and say I want to go to Lake. Actually, that's not.
I don't think you want to go to New Jersey from Palm
Let's just
Beach.
go to Hertz down the
I mean, you
street.
might. That'd be a heck of a rate.
So again, this is a short distance, but you can see all this can be driven based on what you know. So if you put your addresses in, now we're going to limit the amount of times you're going to be able to do these sample test rates because we don't want to keep having our Google charges to be constantly triggered based on your test rate. So we'll limit this, but it gives you a good visual of what your mileage is and how long it typically would take, and then you can set that up in your rate to do a further analysis. But again, this is to drive forward your ability to control how you want to operate your business. And certain areas, you're going to be able to set up those rates in a way that's going to be very specific and very competitive as well. On the rider side, you'll notice here that we have the rider app. We'll go ahead and do our reservation. I'll just do it for current time. Actually, let me set up I'll do it for tomorrow. And then same thing, the rider will be able to set up their parameters around where they want to be picked up. Let's say they want to go to the airport and then they're going to be dropped off Twisted Tuna. The difference here is the driver selection. You'll be able to search and look at all the drivers around the surrounding area. You'll also be able to look at your favorite drivers that you've already got set up. So this is going to be fully searchable. So you don't have to have your favorite driver. You don't have to do a past ride. If a driver referred you'll be able to find that person and be able to tag them and immediately do a ride. So that constraint before, where you had to do a ride before, does not exist anymore. You'll be able to trigger a specific driver. I say I'll just pick one of these drivers. What that does is gives me 3 parameters that I need in order to drive the pricing: your time and day, your location, and the optional, do you want a specific driver? Now, if you chose that specific driver, their only rate will show up on here. If you did not choose a driver, what we'll do is we'll do a calculation across all the drivers that set the pricing, and we'll set the average pricing for those individual car classes. So if you have 200 drivers in that area, every driver is going to have pricing. It's going to set averages, so we know what the market rate for those individual classes are. So that's how the algorithm is going to work, because if you didn't choose a driver, then it's going to just be a composite average of what those rates were set within the drivers. Go ahead and just select a class. You confirm. And then in this screen, I'll do an option where you can maybe, hey, I didn't want that driver. I can choose a different location. So all these will be configurable before you actually do the confirmation. So that's how the new rider experience is going to be, where they'll be able to choose any driver, as well as they can just say, no, I don't care which driver. And then they can go in and just pick from a composite list of drivers that are available. And then whoever picks up that ride will take that rate based on what the average is.
And so going forward in the new year, once we get everything settled, and I can't guarantee it'll be tomorrow or next week, like we're working on it. We just want to make sure it's all right and we get it tested correctly before we just throw something up. But it's coming as quickly as we can possibly get it. And that's going to do a lot of different things for us, guys. We're going to be able to open up a city with one driver. We're going to be able to open up. We have 20, 30, 40,000 drivers that have signed up. And unfortunately, the way we had it, not unfortunately, it's the way we had to do it. You know, you have to walk before you can run. You know, you got to crawl before you can walk. So we had to do things a certain way, opening cities. And it's, you know, somebody was like, well, you know, I wish you would go back to the cities that you opened and closed. To be honest with you, and this is not me not taking responsibility, I didn't open or I didn't close any city. We have certain parameters that if rides weren't being taken, things didn't happen, we had to put them on pause. And it wasn't, we closed it, we had to put them on pause, because if drivers aren't taking rides, that is a horrible look for the company. And not only for the company, but for everyone involved. And so now, you know, I mean, Arthur is a perfect example. You know, in the beginning, we had a few issues. We had to put it on pause. Arthur's come back with a group of people and they are just, they're killing it. Like they're getting better and better every single day. But we had to take a step back and then go forward. So don't blame me for the closings, but I will just say this: we're going to be able to open this up. So now every single driver considers himself an independent contractor with these other companies. They're considered independent contractors. But in my opinion, how are you really an independent contractor when they control your rates? They control how many rides you can get. They control everything about it. With this, now a driver is going to be able to get started today. We're going to be charging a $25 fee. It's going to be a $40 fee, we've decided. But if you pay it up front, it's only going to be $20. That's going to help cover with the insurance that we're going to have to get. That's going to also help cover the background check so that we can pay more money out. Right now, we pay out 70% of every dollar that comes in right back out to the drivers. Plus, we're going to have other percentages that we pay out. My goal is when we hit a certain number of rides, we're going to change that from 70% up to 80%. So that's coming in the very near future. And I think we even pay 80% when it's over a certain amount right now, don't we, James?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
We pay 80% on rides when they're over a certain fare, right?
Yeah, over $80. Yeah.
Over $80.
Just like
So
what
my
Evelyn said.
goal within the next 12 months is to bump that from 70% up to 80%. And the way we're going to do that is volume. The more rides we do, that's why it's so exciting for me that we hit 500. Guys, can you imagine if we go out in January and all we are able to do, instead of having the number of rides that we do 500 on a month, let's say we're able to put 3,000 new drivers activated around the country, and each one of those do 2 rides a day. That's 6,000 rides a day times 30 days. That's 180,000 rides on a monthly basis. This thing can grow very, very quickly. And it's going to be up to you guys to help us with that. I'm going to go into full-on travel mode. I'm going to get out in the field. I'm going to be meeting people. I'm going to be doing rides when I go to cities. I'm excited about now being able to do what I know how to do, which is build huge teams. We're going to be able to open this worldwide coming up. And so now that Lisa's turned her camera on.
Don't I look beautiful?
Yeah, you look beautiful. What do you have to share?
So Erica just had a great question. Is it going to be on demand only, or are we going to
No,
open?
we're going to have on demand and scheduling. That's all coming.
Okay.
Any
Sorry.
questions you guys have, though, please send them into Revo, support@revoride.com, so that we can put these in our FAQs. Because believe me, if you have that question, somebody else has that question.
Right.
And if we don't have a record of it, then it really doesn't matter. But yes, we will have, it'll be on demand, so they'll be able to order immediately, but we'll also have the scheduling feature as well.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's very good.
All right. Anything else you got? Lisa's going to put up our new training schedule in the chat.
Adonis and I tested being able to talk to the rider prior to starting the ride, and it worked. So I wanted to let everybody know that capability was there.
Awesome. And somebody asked if the sound thing was working. James, can you go over the whole sound thing with people so that they understand how to get notifications, what they have to have the settings at. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah, we could do a video training on it as well. But
yeah, why don't we do
to
that? But just
summarize
real
it,
quickly.
there's a lot of settings on a phone and devices that there's two types of settings. There's a settings on the device itself for push notification, and you can set the sound parameters around that. And then there's one in the app. So for Android, you have to be, I'm sorry, on iOS, you have to be in the app. There's just no way around to do a background sound. I'm still looking into seeing if there's any workarounds on that, but you have to be in the app. Now on an Android, you can be in a background mode and be able to receive notifications. So there's a lot of these settings that just has to be set correctly. And every device, as I go through all these different Android devices, there's different, just different options. And so we'll have to go through a few of those just to give you some clarity around, where these are set. But we'll make sure that that is known across the board.
The one thing, guys, I was talking to somebody the other day and I was telling them, some of the things that frustrate me with drivers sometimes is they want to be in business for themselves. They take care of their car, but they have a phone from 1943. Like, get the best, newest phone you can possibly afford. I'm not telling you to go out and get crazy, but you can get great deals with phone companies. You can get, I was talking to Makwa a week or two ago about upgrading, and I don't think she even realized she could upgrade, because a lot of times you go to your phone company, they want you to get a newer phone. And the better your phone works, the better connectivity you have. Like, I'm telling you, I'm one of those people that every time a new phone comes out, I upgrade. Probably because I break about 4 phones a year by dropping them. But I'm always wanting to have the newest because I want to make sure when James puts something out or we have something within our ecosystem or one of our other apps or one of the other things I'm working on, that I'm always up to date. So I would encourage you, get the best phone you possibly can. Make sure you have as great a service as you possibly can. And let's all work together in this next 2025 to get things going. Now, I know a lot of you love to fire out questions in here. Today, this is an update deal. Please do me a favor and send your questions into support@revoride.com. If for some reason you don't get the response you need or want, you can upgrade that and escalate it to me, but I'd rather you not, because our support people are really amazing. And I want to leave you with this. It's 12:23. It's funny. I asked everyone to put one thing you were proud of in 2025 and one thing you're looking forward to doing in 2024, and then looking forward to doing something in 2025. Only a handful of you did that, but now every person's got a question. What about this? What about that? What about that? Maybe in 2025, we should all learn to be able to follow directions better, myself included. But what I do want to tell you guys is as we end this up, I hope you all have a safe and happy New Year tomorrow evening. I know some of you will be out driving. Please be safe. New Year's is what they call amateur night. That's when the people who shouldn't be out driving around are out driving around. Then they have a few drinks. So please make sure you're safe. But I would also encourage you to take some time, reflect on how great you've done for yourself this year, and just set out to every single day, make the next day better. I will tell you, with us as a staff, it's funny. I was talking to Lisa this morning. I said, man, it feels like a little bit like everybody on our staff is a little bit beat down. And that's going to happen. I mean, you get at the end of the year, but the great thing about it is we get to recharge. We get to take a couple days. Our people do not take a couple days. I want you guys to understand, when you have 1 ride or 2 rides, multiply that by 500 rides in a month. Multiply that by those rides coming in the middle of the night. I don't think you understand what you have available for you right now is having people like Evelyn and Lisa and Jeannie and Hunter and Pedro and James and myself. I wouldn't put myself in the category of them because they do it way more than I do. But I get to see the text messages. Every time we get a ride, we get a text. And in that group text, we all say, someone's got to verify that ride, make sure that there is a driver, make sure that they got taken care of. If there's any issues, they go to James. These guys are working 24/7 almost for you. And when we get this thing right and it's humming along and we're doing 180, 200,000, 1 million rides a month, I want you to be able to look back and I want you to be able to not only thank people now for what they're doing, but also what's going on in the future. So we're not stopping. We're not slowing down. We're going to be adding on more features. We're going to be adding on delivery. I keep saying that, but then we came up with this whole thing to change it so the drivers can do the pricing. And I promise you, anything that's good we're going to get it. It may take a little bit. We may argue with you a little bit here and there, but in the long run, we all have the same goal. We all have a goal of taking something that's an amazing technological advance when it comes to using an app to have someone come pick you up. But it also should benefit mankind. It should benefit the drivers. It should benefit the customers. It shouldn't benefit some corporation just sitting up there dragging all this money in. And if you think this is about money for me, you're crazy. I have put more money into this on a weekly and monthly basis than I can care to imagine. When I don't even, I have a lot of projects and things and places that that money needs to go. But REVO is my main 100%, 1000% focus. And in 2024, 2025, we laid the foundation in 2024. Now it's time to go out and do it even more. I'm so happy to see some of the guys out in Vegas really getting after it, making things happen instead of sitting around. I put a post up that talked about doers do. And I just want that to be our slogan in 2025, that doers do, and I'm a doer. And I know you are too. So thank you guys so much. And we will all talk soon. Have a great 2025, and we'll talk to you soon. I'll have this video up in the next hour or so. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.